In the heart of the Atraxis galaxy, the High Council of the Zarkali Empire convened. The council chamber was filled with the Empire's most powerful leaders. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, a tension that could only come from the decision to launch an invasion. Towering over the assembly, Supreme Chancellor Vroxian Zorik, a being of cold calculation and unyielding ambition, called the meeting to order. His presence alone commanded absolute silence as his glowing yellow eyes scanned the room. "Today," Zorik began, "we decide the fate of a primitive world known as Earth. Our scouts have identified it as a planet rich in resources and ripe for conquest. Its inhabitants, though numerous, are technologically inferior. They are no match for the might of the Zarkali Empire." The council members, each representing a different faction within the Empire, nodded in agreement. Their species had dominated countless worlds, enslaved innumerable races, and left nothing but ashes in their wake. Earth, to them, was just another conquest, a stepping stone to further expansion. But among them, a lone dissenting voice, Elder Korik, dared to speak. "Supreme Chancellor, I must caution against underestimating these humans," Korik warned. "Our intelligence suggests they possess a resilience unlike any species we have encountered. They have survived countless wars, and their ingenuity in adapting to new threats is unusual." Zorik dismissed Korik's concerns with a wave of his hand. "Resilience alone is not enough to repel our forces. The humans may have survived their petty conflicts, but they have never faced a foe like us. We will crush them, and in doing so, demonstrate our dominance to the entire galaxy." The council erupted in agreement, drowning out any further objections. The decision was made. Earth would fall, and its riches would fuel the Zarkali Empire's unrelenting march across the stars. In the days that followed, preparations for the invasion began in earnest. The Zarkali fleet, a massive armada of warships bristling with advanced weaponry, was mobilized. Soldiers were briefed, their minds filled with visions of glory and conquest. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, ensuring that every ship and weapon was in perfect condition. The invasion would be swift and decisive, a demonstration of the Empire's overwhelming power. Among the fleet's command staff was General Zaller, a seasoned warrior with a reputation for ruthlessness. Zaller had led countless campaigns, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. To him, Earth was no different from any other target. His orders were clear: break the planet's defenses, subjugate its people, and secure its resources. As the fleet assembled, Zaller received an intelligence briefing on Earth's defenses. The reports were laughable: a collection of outdated missile systems, primitive aircraft, and rudimentary space stations. There was no mention of planetary shields, no signs of advanced weaponry that could pose a threat to the invasion force. Earth's inhabitants had sent a message in response to the Zarkali's looming presence, a single word that puzzled the aliens: run. Zaller and his officers laughed at the warning. It was seen as a desperate, hollow threat from a species that knew its time was up. "Let them run," Zaller sneered as he reviewed the invasion plans. "But they won't get far." Back on Earth, in a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity's leaders convened. The room was filled with generals, scientists, and world leaders, each bearing the weight of the impending crisis. The President of the United States, a stern figure known for his calm under pressure, addressed the group. "They're coming," the President stated. "The Zarkali Empire has mobilized its fleet, and their target is us. But we knew this day would come, and we prepared for it. The message we sent, run, wasn't a threat. It was a warning. If they invade, they will regret it." The room was silent, but it was a silence filled with determination. Over the years, humanity had developed advanced technologies in secret, hidden away from the prying eyes of the galaxy. Earth's defenses were not what they seemed. Beneath the surface, hidden from view, were weapon systems that could rival the Zarkali's finest. Orbital cannons, laser grids, automated drone armies. All were ready, awaiting the invaders. As the President spoke, the leaders around the table nodded in agreement. This was more than a battle for survival. It was a test of humanity's resolve. The Zarkali saw Earth as weak, but they had underestimated the human spirit. The same spirit that had overcome wars, disasters, and the vastness of space. "Let them come," the president said. "And when they do, we'll show them why Earth isn't just another planet to be conquered. They think they've faced tough enemies before. They have no idea what's waiting for them here." As the council disbanded and preparations continued, a sense of anticipation filled the air. The Zarkali invasion fleet approached, unaware that they were heading straight into the jaws of a planet that was more than ready to defend itself. Earth's warning had been issued. Now! It was only a matter of time before the aliens realized their fatal mistake. The Zarkali fleet descended upon Earth with the precision of a well-oiled machine. Massive warships, resembling dark monoliths against the backdrop of space, moved into position around the planet, casting ominous shadows over Earth's surface. The invasion was meticulously planned. Thousands of soldiers, armored vehicles, and aerial drones poised to deploy the moment the order was given. The skies above Earth were now a chaotic swarm of Zarkali technology, ready to rain destruction upon the unsuspecting planet below. General Zaller stood on the bridge of his command ship, the Vengeance, gazing at the blue-green orb that floated in the distance. From this vantage point, Earth appeared deceptively peaceful, its swirling clouds and vast oceans belying the storm that was about to be unleashed. Zaller's scaled hand tightened around the edge of the command console as he addressed his officers. "Begin the assault," he ordered. This was a moment he had been waiting for, a chance to add yet another world to his empire's long list of conquests. The order was relayed, and almost immediately, the Zarkali forces sprang into action. Dropships roared out of the warship's hangars, streaking towards Earth's surface in coordinated waves. Plasma cannons ignited with an eerie glow, their energy blasts primed to incinerate any defenses the humans could muster. Zarkali soldiers, encased in impenetrable battle armor, prepared to set foot on the soil of Earth, expecting little more than token resistance. But as the first wave of Zarkali dropships entered Earth's atmosphere, something unexpected happened. Automated defense systems, previously dormant, suddenly sprang to life. Massive ground-based cannons, concealed beneath artificial terrain, emerged and locked onto the incoming ships. High-powered laser batteries, hidden deep within the Earth's crust, activated in an instant, their targeting systems focusing with lethal precision on the descending Zarkali crafts. Without warning, beams of searing energy cut through the air, slicing through the first wave of Zarkali dropships as though they were nothing more than paper. Explosions lit up the sky, sending debris raining down across the landscape. Panic swept through the Zarkali fleet as more of their ships were obliterated by Earth's hidden defenses. Zaller watched in disbelief as the glowing markers on his tactical display, each representing one of his vessels, blinked out one by one. "Impossible!" Zaller roared, slamming his fist against the console. "How did they—" His words were cut short by a report from one of his officers. "General, our ships are being targeted by ground-based energy weapons. The humans—" "Enough!" Zaller barked. "Deploy the second wave. Overwhelm them." But even as the second wave of dropships descended, Earth's defenses adapted with frightening speed. The skies above major cities were suddenly filled with swarms of automated drones, small but fast, darting through the air like metallic insects. Each drone was equipped with high-velocity plasma cannons, and they moved in synchronized patterns, intercepting the Zarkali dropships and tearing through their armor with precision strikes. The Zarkali forces, caught off guard by the sheer scale of Earth's automated defense systems, began to falter. On the ground, the situation was no less dire for the invaders. The first Zarkali troops had landed in what they believed were undefended regions, vast plains, deserts, and forests where they expected little resistance. But as soon as their boots touched the ground, they were met with an onslaught. Hidden missile batteries emerged from underground bunkers, launching explosive volleys at the invaders. High-powered railguns fired from concealed positions in mountain ranges, their tungsten projectiles ripping through the Zarkali armor with terrifying force. Yet even in the face of overwhelming firepower, the Zarkali soldiers were relentless. They advanced, their plasma rifles blazing as they fought to break through the human defenses. They were creatures bred for war, and their resolve was unmatched. In the deserts of Arizona, the Zarkali soldiers came face to face with human ground forces for the first time. The humans wore advanced exosuits, each one outfitted with adaptive armor and integrated weapon systems. These soldiers, trained in the art of asymmetric warfare, fought with brutal efficiency. A Zarkali platoon, expecting to annihilate a small band of human resistance fighters, found themselves ambushed by a squad of human soldiers armed with laser-guided explosives and plasma rifles of their own. The Zarkali's superior numbers meant nothing as the humans struck from the shadows, using hit-and-run tactics to devastating effect. By the time the Zarkali realized they had vastly underestimated Earth's capabilities, it was too late. The invasion, which had begun with such confidence, was quickly spiraling into chaos. The Zarkali forces were being torn apart by weapons they had never encountered before, far more advanced than their initial intelligence had suggested. Earth's message had been clear, but now it was being delivered with lethal force. This was no simple conquest. As the hours passed, the skies over Earth became a battlefield of burning wreckage and scattered Zarkali forces. On the ground, human resistance fighters pressed the attack, pushing the invaders back at every turn. The Zarkali soldiers, once so confident in their victory, found themselves on the defensive. On board the Vengeance, General Zaller could only watch as his once invincible fleet was decimated. Reports flooded in from every corner of the battlefield. Earth's defenses were too strong, its technology too advanced. The humans were supposed to be a primitive species, but they had turned their planet into a fortress. Zaller clenched his jaw. There had to be a way to turn the tide of battle. But as he stared at the tactical display, watching the icons representing his forces dwindle, a sense of dread began to creep in. Perhaps, he thought, the humans had been right all along. Perhaps the Zarkali should have run. The once pristine fields and valleys of Earth were now the backdrop of a bloody struggle for survival. The Zarkali invasion, once heralded as an assured victory, had turned into a desperate fight against a species they had grossly underestimated. Fires raged in the distance, casting an eerie glow over the shattered remains of war machines and debris. The alien fleet, once a symbol of unstoppable power, was now scattered in disarray, with wreckage raining down across the planet. On the ground, Captain Elena Marks of the Earth Defense Force surveyed the battlefield with a grim expression. Her once gleaming exosuit was scorched and battered, but her resolve was unshaken. Around her, her squad was engaged in intense combat with the remaining Zarkali forces, their plasma rifles lighting up the night as they pushed the invaders back. "Marks, we've got incoming from the west," shouted Lieutenant Harris. He was crouched behind a ruined transport, firing bursts of plasma at an advancing Zarkali squad. Elena turned and saw the wave of alien reinforcements charging across the field. Their large, reptilian forms moved with terrifying speed and coordination, their eyes glowing a menacing red. She knew that if they broke through her squad's position, the battle could tip in the invaders' favor. "Hold the line," she commanded, raising her rifle and taking aim at the nearest Zarkali warrior. Her shot hit true, the plasma bolt piercing through the alien's armor and sending it sprawling to the ground. "We can't let them take this position." The battle intensified as the Zarkali reinforcements closed in. Plasma bolts and bullets flew through the air, striking with deadly precision on both sides. The alien forces were relentless, their superior numbers threatening to overwhelm the human defenders. But the Earth soldiers fought back with every ounce of strength they had, their training and technology allowing them to hold the line. Above them, the sky was a kaleidoscope of fiery explosions as Earth's defense satellites and automated drones continued to battle the remnants of the Zarkali fleet. For every ship the humans brought down, another two seemed to take its place. The sky was ablaze with crisscrossing beams of energy, lighting up the night in a grim display of power and destruction. Despite the overwhelming odds, there was no retreat in the hearts of the human soldiers. This was their planet, and they would defend it until their last breath. Elena knew that giving in to fear would only lead to defeat, so she pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the fight before her. "Marks," Lieutenant Harris's voice cut through the chaos. "They're pushing too hard. We're going to need backup." Elena glanced around. Her squad was being pressed from all sides. She could see the exhaustion on their faces, hear the strain in their voices. If they didn't get reinforcements soon, they wouldn't be able to hold out. But then, a rumble shook the ground beneath them. At first, it seemed like another explosion, but it quickly became clear that something far more powerful was approaching. A deep, mechanical growl filled the air, and the Zarkali forces faltered in their advance, turning to face the new threat. From the distance, a juggernaut emerged, one of Earth's most feared and formidable war machines. Towering over the battlefield, the heavily armored figure cut an imposing silhouette against the blazing sky. Its massive form glinted in the firelight, and in its hands, it gripped an M134 minigun, the barrels already spinning up with an ominous whir. Elena's heart soared with hope as the juggernaut advanced. Its every step sent tremors through the ground, its presence alone causing the Zarkali to hesitate. Without warning, the minigun unleashed a torrent of firepower, mowing down the alien invaders with brutal efficiency. The battlefield erupted into chaos as the juggernaut tore through the Zarkali ranks, its armor impervious to their weapons, its relentless assault leaving devastation in its wake. "That's what I'm talking about," Harris shouted with newfound energy, rallying the squad to push forward alongside the juggernaut. The tide of battle shifted dramatically. The Zarkali forces, once so sure of their dominance, found themselves outmatched by the sheer ferocity of the juggernaut. The alien soldiers scrambled to regroup, but the devastation was too much. Their carefully coordinated assault collapsed under the relentless pressure of the human counterattack. Elena and her squad fought with renewed vigor, taking advantage of the confusion among the Zarkali ranks. They pushed forward, driving the invaders back inch by inch. Plasma bolts, grenades, and lasers filled the air, but the juggernaut was the center of it all, its overwhelming firepower paving the way for the human victory. As the last of the Zarkali forces were pushed back and the sounds of battle began to fade, Elena felt a weight lift off her shoulders. The invaders had been repelled, at least for now. The battlefield was littered with the remnants of war, scorched earth, fallen soldiers, and burning wreckage. The juggernaut stood tall in the midst of it all, its minigun finally silent, smoke still rising from the barrels. It had been a symbol of humanity's defiance, of their refusal to bow to any alien force, no matter how powerful. Elena took a deep breath. The battle had been brutal, but Earth had survived. For now, as she looked out over the battlefield and the soldiers who had fought so valiantly, she felt a surge of pride. Humanity had faced the alien predators head-on and emerged victorious. And as long as they had soldiers like the juggernaut on their side, they would continue to fight, no matter the odds.